Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal and this is another expedition log. Today we conclude the ExLog Phase 4 Zamias Triptych out in Indiana, Pennsylvania, at a mall that serves as the Baleful Bastion, meant to protect the rare vintage retail aesthetic that lies within its walls. This is the episode where I tell you about the infamous Indiana mall cop who followed me out to my car demanding that I give him my phone. He never got my phone, of course, and I'm sure you know that I was able to catch the episode for all of you to see today. As always, I hope you're all well during the COVID-19 quarantine, and as states are opening back up slowly, please still take precautions to limit the spread of this novel coronavirus so we can all get back to business as usual. So today, since we can't visit all the malls quite yet, come take a walk with me through the Indiana Mall in Indiana, Pennsylvania, where I had my sketchy encounter with one hell of a gremlin of a mall cop. But first, a word from our sponsor. A movie that ripped off the Terminator franchise, but chose to add monsters to distract from the real enemy, who was the Terminator, fighting a group of Marines called the Megaforce, with no relation to my prior sponsor. I give you shocking dark, and some of the absolute worst screenplay and acting you'll ever see. Enjoy.
Situation in Venice is now critical. The giant toxic cloud has settled over the city and is slowly destroying every form of life. The government has declared it a disaster area.
What's going on here? There's an SOS from Venice, sir.
Hurry! They're coming! They're coming! Ah!
What the hell's going on here?
Alpha Patrol, get ready for combat! I'm gonna command this one personally. Out of hell with it!
All members of the Megaforce will proceed to Assembly Point H immediately.
Now look at that. Yo, Costa. What's going on?
Yeah, but they didn't have the Marines from the Megaforce.
The Megaforce.
Hey! Oh! No, but
Looks like they were trying to do some kind of research on genetic mutation. It's incredible. Ingenious. What bastards. They've done it. It's like a floppy disk. You insert it into the right computer and it literally brings its program to life.
they cut the lights.
What do you mean they cut the lights?
Captain! Captain! She can't get the door open! Wrong button! Push the other one!
You should have never come this far.
We hope we can count on your cooperation today. And, of course, naturally, we request the maximum discretion regarding this operation. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
You bastards! You were the ones who poisoned Venice!
He's a machine too.
Just what do you think you're gonna do to me with that? Realize that I'm immortal. Well, this whole place will be blown sky high. And so long, Aqueduct.
Emergency alert. All personnel will vacate position at once.
So long, Captain. 15 minutes till total destruction. This is the end of the line. What do you think you're gonna do to me with that? It won't even scratch me.
You bastard!
Hello, welcome aboard the Tubular Time Pod. We wish you a pleasant time space trip. Watch out for turbomolecular decomposition. We remind you all that this is a test model. Have a safe trip, a good trip, and goodbye. Thank you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
End of the line.
We've got a lot of work to do before it's too late for everyone.
on Saturday, November 5th, 1977, George D. Zamias announced that he would be building a brand new mall in Indiana County, Pennsylvania. He noted that construction would take just under a year, and his crew would be paid nearly $3 million for their efforts. 5 days later, the developer applied for building permits for the mall. However, they had only signed agreements in good faith for the land on which the mall was to be built. But 5 months after applying for the permits, Zamias officially acquired a 44-acre tract of land for $819,000 along Route 286 in South Indiana. Permits were granted shortly after the land was acquired, and at 10:30 a.m. on Monday, July 10th, 1978, groundbreaking ceremonies were celebrated for the proposed mall. However, just 1 month into construction, 9 county residents sought to get construction halted for the summer as they stated it was disrupting their backyard enjoyment. Zamias argued that this could cost them over $500,000 due to winter construction costs and lost rent if they failed to open on time. The case was dismissed, but Zamias would find himself in the spotlight nationwide in September of 1978 as he was embroiled in an alleged ring of corruption where he requested a $15.5 million federal grant, denying allegations that he paid off an official with $10,000 to get FaceTime with the person that could grant him that money. Despite the less than stellar attention, the mall in Indiana would continue construction without hesitation. At 10 a.m. on Monday, October 1st, 1979, the Indiana Mall had its grand opening with Sears and Bon-Ton serving as senior anchors. The ribbon-cutting ceremonies included Pittsburgh Steeler place kicker Matt Barr, Miss Pennsylvania Maureen Starinsky, and Darth Vader, roaming about the mall, scaring the living hell out of the children. The mall cost over $12 million to construct, and would draw 2 more senior anchors and a 4-screen movie theater in the coming months. The Indiana Mall opened the same week as its sister mall, the Warren Mall, and both share pretty much identical aesthetic language. Unfortunately, the Warren Mall is now demolished. If you'd like to see full coverage of that mall, go check out ExLog 59. Kmart would be set to open 1 month later, in November of 1979. The Carmike Cinema 4-screen theater would open a month later after the Kmart, and a JCPenney would be open by August of 1980. The mall had space for 56 inline tenants and opened to roughly a 95% occupancy. Just like the Warren Mall, nothing really changed in the appearance to the Indiana Mall since its opening. The way that you see the Indiana Mall today is nearly the spitting image of how it appeared when it opened in 1979. I came across reports that there were more fountains at the mall, which were later removed, but other than this, the mall remained untouched. As I discussed in my Warren Mall video, the gray ghosts that litter the American landscape may not all close. These malls are still abundant throughout the country, and there are many which you may very well be able to visit. As of the release of this video at the end of May 2020, the malls in Pennsylvania haven't reopened yet, and they're still closed due to the COVID-19 quarantine. It begs the question though, which gray ghosts will survive? With tenants still mostly being forced to pay rent despite them not making any money while the malls remain closed, we may see a swath of permanent closures across the country because of the novel coronavirus that we're facing right now. However, at Indiana Mall, I do think it will survive. It's thrived through the 80s and the 90s despite some light competition from the now demolished Regency Mall. But Indiana Mall would ride that Y2K bug into the new millennium with a full set of original anchors, owned and managed by the original developer, and a fairly healthy occupancy. Kmart was never an anchor known for prestige or expensive items and high-quality commodities. It loaded its floors with far too much stock, and would always get picked apart by those scavengers seeking deals as part of the Blue Light Specials, or Midnight Madness Specials. Black Friday would congregate the masses at random times during every day, when that little blue light would go off and the announcement would play.
Attention Kmart shoppers, there's a Blue Light Special in aisle 11 on Sears, the whole company. You can buy it for $11 billion. Thank you.
Despite Kmart peaking in 1992, the chain would decline sharply towards the end of the 20th century, trying desperately to reimagine the brand with several rebranding campaigns, expansion attempts, and the ill-fated acquisition of Sports Authority. By January 22, 2002, Kmart had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The half-reptilian Eddie Lampert scumbag bought out the majority of Kmart's debt through his ESL Investments hedge fund, with the remaining debt being purchased out by dozens of other investors. This expedited the bankruptcy process, and by May 6, 2003, Kmart emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. But in the process, they lost hundreds of stores. The company was trading again on the NASDAQ ticker, and with the low overhead of running the company and lack of debt, money began pouring into the Kmart coffers. However, at this time, Sears was struggling. The company was wading dubious waters, and their stock price was getting lower and lower. And this looked like a great investment for a predator to invest in. So Lampert decided to purchase the Sears brand. It was announced on November 17, 2004 that Kmart Holdings would purchase Sears Roebuck & Co. for $11 billion. Their combined profits peaked in 2006 with a positive $1.5 billion on their balance sheet. However, they began hemorrhaging money into the 2010s, having lost over $10 billion between 2011 and 2016. By September of 2017, the Kmart at the Indiana Mall was closed, with the Sears shuttering a few months later in January of 2018. Bon-Ton had also been struggling up until this point, and by February of 2018, the company announced that it was entering Chapter 11, as they haven't made an annual profit since 2010. Then, on April 17, 2018, they announced that they'd be liquidating all of their remaining 267 stores. That was the end of brick and mortar for Bon-Ton. But they were bought out by a tech company, and you can still visit bonton.com to do a little shopping.
Thursday through Sunday, all Kmart's hail the age of AccuColor during the grand opening of their new store at Glenwood Road and I-20 East. See this RCA AccuColor TV and celebrate Kmart's low discount price during the savingest grand opening ever.
By July of 2018, I showed up. But my visit to the mall was short-lived. While I was walking around, I spotted a greasy little security guard staring at me while he was chatting out some girls at a kiosk. I promptly put my phone away and made my exit to get some exterior shots of the mall, which you're seeing right now. Feeling uncomfortable enough, I decided to make my egress, not wanting to tempt any trouble with mall security. So I made my way to my car, but as I was walking through the parking lot, the greasy little mall cop came running up out of the door, screaming to the top of his lungs, demanding I stop. I did, and I asked him what the problem was. He told me that he saw me taking a picture of the Bon-Ton and the Sears, and said that it was strictly against the rules. I apologized, and I told him I was on my way home. He said I couldn't leave until I handed my phone to him, and that only he could delete the pictures that I took, or else he'd call the state police. I denied him access to my phone diplomatically and said I was leaving, yet again. He became more adamant about wanting my phone, and began filming me as I said no. So I decided to film him too.
Okay, now that you are still...
Look, I take pride in the fact that I treat every one of these malls with a sense of reverent curiosity and utmost appreciation for the aesthetic language and architectural integrity that they exude.
This is the reason right here why people don't come to malls anymore. This little guy who's been breaking people's balls just because we're fans of a fountain and a vintage-looking Bon-Ton.
It's people like this who have a false sense of power and importance and authority that give security a bad name, and that make people uneasy to be around them. I've been approached on multiple occasions by mall security because I was taking pictures, and in every single instance but this one, the mall cop was respectful, I was respectful, the entire situation was respectful, and when I was asked to leave, or when I was told, no problem, just go about doing your business, I did just that. I complied because of respect.
Bon-Ton, he comes chasing me out of the mall. He comes chasing me out of the mall, screaming at us, demanding that we do things. Now he's trying to get in my car with me? Are you kidding me? I said, are you going to get in my car?
I'll just call the state police at this point.
Spelunking in dead malls used to be an underground, weird, unique thing. But now that there's those of us with millions of views on our videos, you think we, the creators, are the enemy. But we're not. And I'd like to say something to you, mall cops and mall security, if I may.
And I've already told you, you're still breaking the rules and regulations.
I'm just gonna wait here till you walk away. You're on the clock, right?
Yes,
At least you're getting paid to stand there.
That's good.
Myself, along with the entire Dead Malls of Discord server, respect what you all do. I've heard horror stories about how you have to face actual threats and how you have to do so unarmed and in a hands-off approach. That's scary, and that takes balls.
I will call the state police.
For what? Because I took a picture of a...
But what doesn't take balls is running out of a mall demanding that somebody give you their phone because they took a picture of a fountain. That takes no balls, and that deserves no respect.
Fountain and you chased me out of a mall. Okay.
To all mall cops out there, don't act like this guy. Talk to us and have a respectful interaction. Respect deserves respect. So once he finally mentioned I should leave, I did just that, and I pulled away. Keeping the mall firmly in my memory, but hoping to forget that that ketchup-stained mouth gremlin ever existed. But living a life defeated by that dude isn't really how I operate. So of course, I had to come back and see the mall one more time. One year later, in 2019, I decided to return to the Indiana Mall on my way up to Niagara Falls. I was greeted with two new anchors, Kohl's and Harbor Freight. Both of these new stores occupied a portion of the former Sears. The mall had about 20 stores remaining out of the 56 inline tenants, but I was happy to find JCPenney still open despite the latest news. I'm really not too sure that they'll survive much longer. On May 15th, 2020, JCPenney had announced it was entering Chapter 11, and as a result, it would be closing around 30% of its stores, with 192 closing by February of 2021 and another 50 in 2022. Despite having $500 million of cash on hand and another $900 million committed to them by lenders, JCPenney's most certainly on shaky ground. While at the mall, I decided to stop into the security office after gathering some new footage. I spoke with the most pleasant mall cop that I've ever met, who I'm going to leave unnamed. But he informed me that the guy that was busting my balls in 2018, who we're just going to call Kyle the mall cop. The nice cop in 2019 informed me that Kyle the mall cop had been fired after multiple complaints along the same vein as what I experienced. But the nice mall cop also told me that the turnover at the Indiana Mall security is super high and the pay is abysmally low. Again, I want to reiterate, Kyle the mall cop was the only truly nasty encounter I've ever faced in my time making this series. And to all of you other mall cops out there, we're cool, and I've got a really high degree of respect for what you guys do. While mall cops may be mischaracterized by movies like Paul Blart and like LaFours in the amazing movie Mallrats, I've heard a lot of stories about mall cops actually encountering some really tough situations that they have to respond to without force, without putting their hands on the assailant. And sometimes local PD takes a long time to respond, so they have to hold that situation down. So to all you mall cops out there, I have a lot of respect for you guys.
Thank you for shopping at the Indiana Mall.
We made it back to the Indiana Mall. And this place is great, and I'm fortunate to have gotten a second chance to come here because it's a great mall that was plagued by bad security in the past. And I did have a chance to talk with the security guard here, the new one. I won't give you his name, but he's really cool. And he said that it's not a great place to work. He said that the pay is really low, and they don't treat their employees great. The turnover rate's really high, but, you know, you gotta work, you gotta work. And fortunately, now they have some good people working here. And I did talk to him and asked for a job application just to see what sort of things were needed to work here. The fountain's off, which sucks. But, you know, fortunately, we were able to see it one more time. And maybe in the future we'll come back just to see what happens to it maybe a year from now. But there you have it, the expedition log on the Indiana Mall in Indiana, PA.
I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. This encounter with Kyle the mall cop has become infamous in the Dead Malls of Discord server, and I've been sitting on this footage for quite some time, just waiting for the right time to release it. While Kyle the Mall Cop may be infamous in the tiny corner of the world that DMod occupies, the interaction that I had with him should never have happened, and I'm confident that in the future nothing like this will happen again. But I guarantee that ketchup-stained mouth gremlin-toothed bastard's image is going to haunt my dreams and expeditions for the rest of my life. But I will continue to go on expeditions in spite of that little man, that little gremlin of a man. I'd like to especially thank my growing family of Patreon supporters and channel members who are known as the Elite Explorers, and who directly contribute to my expeditions. I'm headed back out to film again as soon as I can, and you guys fuel that engine, literally. Thanks also to the Dev Malls of Discord server, who are keeping me sane during quarantine. So make sure to come visit DMod and hang out. We're usually doing a live voice chat at night, and we have a ton of fun over there. Also, please make sure to follow me on my various social media, and to leave a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified of future content. I'll see you all next week with ExLog 62, and a tale of the mall's life and death, along with the history of one of the most famed toy retailers in the world, and their big goofy giraffe mascot. Until then, avoid people like Kyle the Mall Cop. Stay home if you can, stay safe, take care, and have a fantastic day.
As a gentle reminder, if you did take any pictures, you need to come see me in the parking lot and I will get in your car, you give me your phone, and I will delete the pictures. For those of you looking to visit next time, my reminder to you is the following message.